Excuse me.
Yeah, that's the thing about sort of going over and you got your workflows and your automations that you get set up, and then you're outside of the fact that they'll break because the APIs change or whatever, then the tools will keep changing, right? And so yeah, we crunch these things down, review them, throw something out, get something else new online, you know. And then you got personal preferences, right? You got your own learning curve that develops through um, the process too, right? So you become more sophisticated in your approach. You get more detailed in your wants and needs, and you're able to produce more of what you want. So when you're essentially what you're doing with a Google Sheet or any a Notion thing, if you're tracking the progress of your client journeys, I guess you call it, right? You're essentially doing an a la carte CRM, right? And so then the question is, well, at what point do you need a CRM? That's another learning curve, all that kind of thing. And then what is that going to cost? And CRMs are notoriously expensive business tools, basically. But there's open source ones out there. So like in my hosting platform for the website, I create subdomains, and there's an app installer in the account management portal, whatever you want to call it. And like you can install an instance of vTiger in there, which is an enterprise level CRM platform. You can self-manage it, you're self-hosting it, doesn't cost you anything. And
Cool.
so you an enterprise level CRM that you can work with. And it's similar to like Pipedrive, if you've ever used that, or
I've not used any CRMs yet. I could use some direction to be pointed in.
they're all very similar.
Yeah.
Bottom line, I mean, like what's your actual, like, the quantity of clients that you're working with right now? Is it a handful? Is it
It's
hundreds, right?
yeah, it's a little over a handful, I would say at this point, like two handfuls. I'm
This many and this many.
I'm probably with about 12 clients weekly, and I've got about 20, and some of them come and go because they're at different stages of the process. And then I've got, maybe 2 a month new leads, and usually they're coming to me by way of referral. And I want to try to create more lead generation, get more conversations going with people, because I think I'm going to have quite a lot of people who probably will know me and my content for a couple of years before they finally convert, you know?
And then it's a matter of, and this is really, I think, the fundamental point of a CRM is making sure they're getting taken care of before, during, and after, outside of the normal what you do with the client, right? So if it's calls, coaching calls or something like that, then there's a ton of adjunct things, outside of, say, a general email list or even a segmented email list, that are touch points that are crucial to nurturing that relationship, and follow up and follow through after the initial working with them, right? For repeat and referral type things and stuff like that, right? And I don't know if you're familiar with Jay Abraham, but he's like old school business growth expert. He's worked with some of the largest companies out there and stuff like that. And he's a very sophisticated strategist when it comes to business growth. And so he focuses on what is called the lifetime value of a client. And there's essentially 3 axes there. And you have, so the average unit of sale, meaning what is their average purchase, the frequency of sale, how many times do they purchase, and then the duration that they're purchasing, right? And so, the key to large scale growth is small incremental change in all three of those, right? Because each one compounds on the other. So there's a sophisticated approach to this. And honestly, if your business's model is anywhere remotely close to my business model, there's really like about 7 main core processes.
Mhm.
And outside of just the handling the client, right? You got lead gen, you got research, all the way up through repeat and referral, right? And so it's somewhere, it's probably it's ish 7. There could be 21, there could be all this kind of stuff, right? But within that handful of those, there's readily recognizable ways that you will find that you can increase the retention or responsiveness or conversion or whatever in each one of those processes. And so if you just look at it all as a big business loop, you can easily, if your KPIs aren't vanity metrics, you can see where you get a log jam for optimization, but then you can also periodically hit each one of those and ratchet them up a little bit better, make them a little bit more personalized. I mean, that's a great thing about AI, is it can crunch the data within any given client or profile of a client and essentially ready make gobs of material that's very personalized to that psychological disposition, right? And so that's where you don't have to get stuck behind like a editorial calendar and figuring out how to be a good writer and things like that, right? But a small percentage of improvement, 7 iterations over, amounts to big revenue changes, right? And so that's why a CRM essentially becomes the de facto piece of software that helps you navigate that. And so if you think about it, like most CRMs have some version of columns with leads or with prospects, with contacts moving through the columns, and the columns are your, say, 7 stages or 5 stages or whatever, and you're able to show up and then just chunk through the 7 stages, because there'll be a list, almost like a Trello board or a Kanban board. And so each day you can basically hit the stack in process 2, process 3, process 4, whatever. You do a touch point on everybody on the board, and hopefully you sort of shuffle them all forward, to some degree, as to some percentage of success. And that's how you keep the machine running, and then of course there's ways to automate those things too. So
Yeah, speaking of that, since we were talking about Zaps and how those may be kind of going away from what we're after these days, I've disintegrated it in this huge way. Should I be untethering myself from Zapier at this
Zapier,
point?
okay. Have you seen N8N yet?
I said what?
N8N.
No. I'm just dipping my toes into any kind of automation. So I set up the what is it, MCP with the Zapier, like trying to get it to communicate with all the Google Suite more, with Stripe. I just signed up for Stripe so that I can do multiple payments. Yeah, because I just raised my prices from like 2,100 to 5,000 for the same package. I've been working with a business coach who was just like, everyone says yes because you're undervaluing yourself. So
Right.
Now I want to be able to get that going smoothly and everything. So that's what made me dive into Zaps. But I need to switch gears if that's not the right direction now.
By the way, you should really get one of these.
Is that a vibration? And heat?
PEMF plate. Pulse electromagnetic fields going through you.
Nice.
Heats you up. You got to be careful. You get sweaty. But it's the bomb. Anyway, I just got done with a cycle of it. It goes for a half hour.
Nice.
So, yeah, I think, especially for essentially our generation and older, not keeping up with the market rates is, as good of a way to wreck your business as anything, right? And have it be a pain in the neck because you're not dealing with the properly calibrated client, right? So, whatever the rate, the going rate is, do the going rate. It's a pretty trivial matter, or what would I say, a parochial approach to increasing your revenue is jockeying around your prices. Like, just let your prices be the market rates. Like when you look at the membership levels that I put on the site, that's all just researched.
Right. I got mine set up really similarly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what I did then today, if you look at the things, is I put a startup special discounts, right? And there's a limited quantity of those, right? So you can set the discount codes to, there's only so many of them that you give out, so it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's great. It's, I don't know, it's something like a 30% discount or something like that, but it's just a way to create a little bit of urgency, to jump in. And it's, I can offset the lack of material in there with essentially just one-on-one work, right?
Right.
Like when you look at the regular rates, I mean, essentially a one-on-one coaching call's worth my hourly rate is worth the membership, So if it's some basic version of that, that's why I put it right up front is that at that level, limited availability, or I'm going to change the price.
Right.
Right. Or disinclude a one-on-one call every month or something like that. Right. As soon as I start maxing out on the schedule, I go bi-monthly or every other month, something like that. So it seems straightforward to figure out what your revenue is based upon the lifetime value of a client. And with coaching, because there's so few purchases and the numbers are big, it really seems easy to do that math. But there's a lot of nuance to it, right? So of course you got affiliate products and stuff like that go along with things. You could do that kind of thing. If you're running a YouTube channel, you can start getting ad revenue involved there. So what Jay Abraham says is there's upsell, downsell, cross-sell, no-sell vectors, right? And so there's always an upsell, there's always a downsell, there's always a cross-sell, and then there's the no sale, right? Like, so if they don't purchase, what else, what is the alternative there? What is the behavioral model in there? And so when you think about those things and look at your business model, that's one thing also that coaching can do, is it can kind of throw you into a monolithic business model. And bottom line is, you want to make a good living, you want to interact with people in a great way, and why not take advantage of income in any different way it can be taken, right? Right. Because there's some 20-year-old punk who's knocking it out of the park and making you look like a old guy, because he's just like, it doesn't have the consideration that you have or I have, right? You're like, shit,
Right.
I'm a dumbass.
Right.
So but there is a level of sophistication to, you want to be able to comfortably keep those things all working, and not get into, sort of a plate spinning act at the circus, right? Because you end up with, too much key man risk in it. You end up with too much strategy risk in it. And, all of a sudden, the house of cards can fall too. So
Yep.
there's definitely a quantity versus quality thing going on in there. It's a whole thing to work out business strategies and readdress them.
Yeah.
It's probably the most important aspect of it is knowing when you're working in your business and on your business, and don't spend so much time working on your business. Spend the majority of it working in your business, because that's how you pull out the widgets, right? But have a very clearly defined regular practice of working on your business where you address those things, and never the twain shall meet kind of deal, because then you're cognitively, it just turns into a mess, So if you make a strategic change in your business, stick with it for a while. Otherwise you just get into perpetual, nobody knows what the hell you're doing because it keeps changing.
Right. And I've gotten dangerously close to doing that. And a buddy of mine said, "Hey, why are you changing this? You have to give me a good answer." And it's, my ability to see vision and lots of options and want to go for the shiny thing. Right.
Right.
So I've got to be really careful. And that's probably also what's kind of got me stuck in decision paralysis for so long. And why it took me so long to just get back with Stripe. Like when I was doing body work, I used to have a Stripe card reader so that I could stretch people and get money and whatnot. And I was like, that should be the path of least resistance, dummy. Go get it. Because I'm already kind of set up. But now I feel like I'm finally in a place where I've removed some of the barriers and I'm ready to just go. And this is why I was like, let's go ahead and dive all the way into the elite coaching. I'm probably going to need that much handhold and that much accountability, so that I can actually get the most out of this, because I know me well enough that if I don't have that accountability, I'm going to be in a meadow chasing butterflies, and I can't be doing that shit.
Well, I think that's probably like the power of a group to some degree, right? Or even just with another person, just having put it out there, and then the person goes, "Hey, well, what about that thing you said?"
Right.
And you go, "Oh shit, right, yeah," And the other thing, and we can build feedback loops, even with like AI type stuff, right? Like you can essentially get your scheduled, get your head out of your ass notification every day, right? And I'm looking forward to having a few of those different types of things. And I think that's really the big change that we're able to have now, is we're out of the realm of bad chatbots, and we're in the realm now of it being able to have a scheduled, dynamic but on point way of notifying you. And so I'm literally like, I don't answer, I got all the notifications turned off. I don't even want to spend any time on email every day. No phone, no text. Like it's all crap, because it's spam, it's cold outreach and shit like that. And I literally want to build a firewall in front of all of the noise.
Me too.
And clearly you're never going to see iOS have a succinctly clear thing, like why can't it be that if they're not in your contacts, it is silenced with no notifications and it's gone, right? And then it's just up to somebody to figure out how to get a hold of you, which bottom line is after last decade and thousands of garbage messages, like let's just put an end to cold outreach, right? The conversion of it is so low and it's all automated anyway, and it's crap. And so, but we have to end up dealing with that noise on a regular basis, and it sucks our attention.
It does.
So that's where this is going, right? Turn
the notifications off for my emails for 5 years because I can't function if they're on.
Yeah.
And I want to continue to build those firewalls. I tried doing that with my Gmail, and now it broke it up into a bunch of different things, and now it's difficult to even go in there and know where the latest thing is. And I tried doing that with Claude, and I messed up my emails bad for both. I have 5.
Oh, shit.
So like I'm trying to figure out how to move away from that. And I know that that's like what why is it escaping me right now? That is what we were talking about it last time. I was saying, do I have to use that? Why wouldn't I just use Notion? Slack. That's what Slack's for. It's supposed to replace all of that, right? The email and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, and where this goes even is, with regard to your business and creating content and having outreach, you essentially have to use social media. But what's preventing you from just vibe coding a dashboard that allows you to interact with social media without ever having to go to it?
Please help me do that. I don't want to ever go back there.
Everybody wants that, right? Like, and those automations exist, right? Like you get a message. Well, I mean, just think of it as, create a secondary email and then just turn on all the email notifications with, say, LinkedIn. They'll show up, and then Claude can parse those and read the message, and then just basically throw away everything that's garbage, and then the next thing is and even YouTube, like I don't want the algorithm playing in my face and the feed. What I want is a curated list of channels with notifications as to what they're putting out. And so I can just go on general YouTube like once a week or something like that when I feel like I want to just blow an afternoon, right?
Right.
But the rest of the time, it's all curated, and it's literally title and description based, right? So you're not dealing with all the flashy, right?
Right.
Because you can, and then I want to click on the button and just get a summary. Give me a 2-page summary on the video, and and at this point you can have an AI look at your personal philosophy and your business plan and say, this would be content that will help you in those.
Right.
And if it's not, out the window.
Out the window. I want that because in my community space, I would really like to create a section where I'm reacting to social psychologists and experts.
Yeah.
And bringing really good information right to parents, or really bad information, and going, hey, what do we think about this? Are we thinking
that becomes a rant video or whatever, right?
Yeah, right. And then
buyer beware video or whatever.
Correct. It's teaching them to slow down and think about what they're consuming, so that they can think about what their kids are consuming if their kids have cell phones and are on social media. It might be able to help them to get out of some of like the crazy tug of war that's happening online with like political stuff. And because I've got a mom who refused to turn off CNN during our session. And I was just like, hey, can you tell me if like what you're trying to get from CNN right now? She's like, I need to find out what's going on. I was like, do you believe that they tell the truth? And she goes, no. And I was like, okay, do you believe that I tell the truth? And she was like, yes. And I was like, why don't we hang out for a little while and turn off something that you don't believe in, but you're kind of addicted to right now? Like, And she was like, I can't do that. And I was like, cool, I'm going to talk to your husband instead. And that's how this is going to go. But I'm seeing that more and more with my families. They're stuck in that I don't know, whirlpool, swirling the drain politically, and they're upset and they think everyone's out to get them. And I'm like, hey, could you go volunteer somewhere and talk to real human beings who are right in front of your face and like be of service to some people? What do you think
Right.
about that? And that's been a really heavy lift, but I can see that those are other avenues that I want to address within the community space.
I while you were saying that, I just typed in the perplexity. What is the current accuracy of facts on CNN by percentage? You know, very trustworthy and 26 trustworthy. You know, you look at these things, and of course they can't give you just one number, right? You know,
Yeah.
you know, this one's saying 22% of the things checked were mostly false. A reliability score of 42.11 on a scale. You know, it's one of these things where it's very similar to the LLM council idea. And this is, are you familiar with GitHub? Are you on GitHub? Do you do things?
I just started trying to connect it to Claude because it's there,
Yeah.
and I haven't done anything with it really yet. And it said Claude was saying like let's make landing pages for your evening and morning check-in routines.
Sure.
But I haven't done it.
So GitHub is really great. There's a lot of public repositories out there with essentially free software that you can use and stuff like that. And this is a thing where, like, if you're getting into prompting and you're getting into context, you know, vibe coding is not that far away, right? Like, you can literally like have it generate an artifact, start with some of the canned artifacts they have, and say, you know, like there's a QR code generator artifact, right? And you can say use that and start. And if you want to get into like vibe coding, say open that up as a project, and then just look at it and go, you know, I'd like a dark mode for this. Type it into Claude, and it'll create a dark mode. You know, and then go, if I were to publish this on my website, would it work? And it'll say, no, it's a React thing with backside database, you know, connections and stuff like that. But it could download a full HTML self-contained app for you. And you go, great, do that. You know, and so you can literally have an app that you can have in your own folder, click on it and you launch it, and it's an interactive app that just essentially runs in the browser, in a browser window as a local file. And you go, you no longer need a QR code generator that has all the pop-ups and the things. And then, you know, you do same thing with, like, say, LastPass is like a you know, a passcode generator, right? But you get 3 or 4 pop-ups and stuff like that. And so that's my suggestion for starting getting into vibe coding, because you realize that at this point it's all conversational driven, right? It's highly reliable for small things, and it gets really weird for big things. But this is what's great about Claude, is, you know, starting this vibe coding journey. So what GitHub is essentially an open free repository. You can put any of the code that you create or text files, or you could sync your Obsidian notes in a GitHub repository. And not only would you have sync capability, but you would also have branch logic and revision history. And so, as opposed to just overwriting with syncing, right, you actually have revision history, which allows, you know, something like an AI to capture patterns over time, right? That's very different than syncing, where you're overwriting the last copy of something. So yeah, I mean, GitHub is on the road to understanding coding and making programs and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But this is the convergence that's really happening in a lot of ways this year. Is, language becomes code, code becomes language, right? And so if you go on GitHub, LLM Council. Yep, there you go. So go on github.com.
Okay. Where is my? There it is. Oops. Okay, and I'm on my dashboard. Sweet. I guess I'm already signed in there. I'm on my dashboard.
So just go to the search window, upper right there, and just type in LLM space council. And
Okay.
Karpathy is the guy. He holds
Yeah,
the
that's
top.
the first one.
So just scroll down to to the README file there. This is the concept of the LLM council. So you can download the whole thing. It's free.
Cool.
And what this is, so fundamentally there is, and you can, if you get into the terminal, you can install it and things like that. But the principle is the important part of what's going on, and understanding the principle behind how this radically reduces hallucinations and proofs out actual cited research going on. That's what's awesome about it. But this is also incrementally what you do at the prompting level, right? And so what I advocate for is learning the principles, taking a few steps through functionally being able to do it, and then go, I understand how important it is, and then taking a well-established methodology and pulling it out and plugging it into your stack, so you don't end up codependent with these things, and you understand how they're operating in the background. So this is one example of many, many, many that are there.
So something I might just listen to. It looks like it's, or maybe that's just a picture. I'm gonna read this through, but am I taking the markdown files and dropping them into Obsidian so that it becomes a part of what Claude can go look into also?
There's a number of ways you can implement it. Let's see, this has a specific install dependencies. So when you put this together, you're going to be running this on a local host in your browser, and then you got to plug in your API keys to those different LLM models, and then basically it'll shoot out to the different LLMs. There's also like wrappers that allow you to take one prompt and kick it out to multiple LLMs. But the key to it is the aggregation and coming back and synthesizing facts and stuff like that. It's a whole subject in and of itself.
Right. And this one I got. yet. It's one I've got no experience with yet. I don't.
This is
I
essentially,
don't no coding ever.
yeah, this is rigorous research.
Yeah.
Once you start getting into research and using AI, you find out how much hallucinations are going on. And
Okay.
so there's this is a little bit more advanced version of hallucination reduction.
Okay. But yeah, I guess what I'm starting to feel is the overwhelm of not knowing what to do. When I'm
I was just opening up like that. I mean, it's a can of worms, so I don't mean to
Yeah.
overwhelm you, but the point is there's this thing called GitHub out there. Vibe coding is really easy. You can download tons of software, and with Claude Code and Cowork, you can basically download that, throw it in your downloads folder, and then you can vibe code on that with Cowork. You know,
Sweet.
and you're just like, it's just crazy, right? So
Right.
you can essentially make any type of custom software you want at this point without having coding knowledge within certain limitations, right? Like, you know, there's a point where the token usage isn't worth the sweat equity, you know. Like, but that you know, creating simple little vibe coded applets and dashboards and stuff like that is very easy and fast. You know, you can create a vacation planner app, you know, and then throw it away. So there's this idea of disposable code, right? And so would you need to go buy a specialized app for something like that? Like we were talking about, like CRMs, right? For your
Right.
quantity, you know, vTiger, well, it's open source, so it's free. And it's enterprise level, so that handles that. There's a lot of enterprise level stuff that's free. And you just got to know where to get it and how to hook it into your tech stack. But
Right.
for small things and for your own personal capability, you know, playing with it enough to not be a complete noob on it really drastically changes your thinking about how to work with AI, right?
Okay.
So
That's what.
yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, you know, I mean, you can go in Cowork and just say, you know, create an HTML dashboard that'll work in my browser and show me these 6 YouTube channels and only those 6 YouTube channels in 6 windows, you know, and it'll just cook it up for you, you know, and you know, you go, oh shit, well, what do I want to do with that? You know, create a feed for each one of those with just the titles and descriptions. You know, now you have that. Oh, well, summarize them and give me the bullet points. You know, like, and it'll just keep doing it. You know, and so you're like, oh shit. You know, what is a real nuisance that I'm just not willing to deal with, or what's going on in my own behavior pattern that is a huge time suck that I'd like to handle in a certain way so that I can dedicate more time to paid clients, right?
Right. I'm completely sucked in by social media and YouTube Shorts. I'm like fully addicted to those right now. I've got them off my phone, but I'm still choosing to do that. And I think the trigger for me that's making me angry is seeing how many things are people that are running tests with AI. So none of it's real, and some of it is just meant to be incendiary, like making us all upset and whatnot. So I'm
Well, it's like
finding my
clickbaity, I guess.
what's that?
Clickbaity.
Clickbaity, or even just to try to see if they can get you to sit there and have the Howard Stern effect. I'm just going to sit here and hate this,
Right.
For as long as somebody who loves it,
Right.
And I realize I'm being pulled into that, and I'm like, I have to stop this. I have to interrupt it with something that's meaningful. And I'm finding that I'm leaning towards I want to create these aspects of my business and make this thing go. for
Yeah,
real.
but that's fun too, right? Like there's dopamine to be had in that too, right?
Because there's,
And it's one thing to be objectively self-aware. It's another thing, for me to go, so that makes you the client who was stuck watching CNN, right?
it does, absolutely does. Yeah. And like that, what I'm trying to figure out, how do I heal from this so that then I can teach others to do the same? And how do I make better choices and interrupt the biohack that the algorithms can be? So I want to create these systems that kind of keep me in check, or at least help to gently nudge me and remind me, like, hey, this isn't you getting the best for your life. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, a big part of what I want to do in the community too, not only just helping people understand it conceptually, but then clearly, because these things can be built, the community ends up being a repository for stuff that's been built,
Right.
and so then it's like, yeah, here, share it, so here's a link to the GitHub repository, so that you're always in the in the latest iteration of this thing as it develops, and or here's the automation downloads, here's the workflow diagrams to show you how to do it, and you got to plug in things. It's all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
so, and just talking people through it, to figure it out, because there's so many permutations for all of this stuff, so you go, it's like, oh, you're already in Slack. Okay, well, maybe Slack's not the best choice then. Maybe we'll go to Notion, or the idea of having a separate container for certain utilizations, so it's highly subjective, and there's so many solutions for this that it can be,
Yeah.
you have no personal preference, good, we got one off the shelf that'll work. You got to get your API keys and we can put them in there, but it's good.
All right. So I have so many ideas and so many things I'm working on right now. What are you and I going to do that keeps me, I guess, on the path, the straight and narrow, that's following what I guess how this all works?
Well, you're in the community.
Uh-huh.
If you want to up the game a little bit, you can be my first subscriber. Like I say, if you go to the membership levels, there's the discounts in there. You did have a question about like ROI and some of those types of questions, right? And certainly we can talk about that, and I can help you understand my disposition, I suppose, as far as that goes. This is primarily learning. It's one-on-one work. I mean, the bottom line is whatever the monthly cost, I can always make it up just by doing one-on-one with you or anybody that's signed up, right? Short of anything that's online. And I'm building it quickly. And a lot of it's just a matter of getting it dumped on there. But I don't.
I might have said that incorrectly. What I guess I'm not sure about is it sounds like there are so many possibilities and so many opportunities that I'm not sure I can see the forest for the trees. And how is it that, or what is it that you and I are going to build together in this one-on-one coaching thing? Is it something you're handing me, or am I handing you my ideas and we're working on them together? Or is it both?
Well, what we have to do, so you have strategy and tactics, right?
Mhm.
And so ideas are more like tactics, maybe solutions to tactics. What you're doing is you're scenario running, right?
Mhm.
And the fundamental aspect of a going concern, a business, is repeating successful actions over and over again. And what an entrepreneur or people in the R&D department or you as a creative person hate more than anything else is to just continue to repeat what is the successful action without introducing arbitrary oh, but this is crazy and cool and wow, look at that, yay, woo, ah, you know.
Yep.
So I feel like, and I'm susceptible. This is the pot calling the kettle black, by
Sure.
right.
Sure.
And it's why part of me being in the community, like I want to put a feature request in on every page in the community, just so that I have guardrails, because I can prioritize those and I can just work on whatever's next, to a degree that this is the core of my business. And I realized I don't even necessarily want to push to one-on-one coaching or consulting or worry too much about the courses and selling courses right now, because this is the thing that scales. This is one thing, and there's plenty of work to be done here, right? Is to the failure of everything else, put it all here, right? That takes rigor and discipline, and it takes a confidence that your strategy is sound. And then after, beyond that, it's a matter of saying, I've made my choice. I will not be changing that choice for X amount of time. Right? And it could be either X amount of time or certain conditions. Right? Like I am not going to change until I have 100 members or something.
Yep.
Right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Right? And so what we do in this course is figure out what that is for you. Clearly, I mean, we can do it right now. Don't matter, right? But then then I'm like, all right, convince me that that's really it, and know that either the condition or the time frame is the condition or time frame, and that's what we're sticking to, and that's what you're being held accountable to.
Right.
And so it's big enough that there's a lot to be done in there, and yes, you'll be pulling in unknowns, right? But the whole behavioral psychology of playing, the psychology of playing the long game is being able to decide with limited knowledge. And if that's scary, you're always deciding with limited knowledge.
Right, of course.
Like it's like,
and sometimes that scary jump off point is the stretching and the growth that you need to keep it growing.
Yeah, it's got its own growth curve and its own rewards, right? And so it's the inverse of the FOMO or the short-term instant gratification all the time, right? So there's a lot of gratification to be had in a job well done and a project well executed and a final product that's a big monstrous thing that people can go, wow, that's really something, and it starts with you saying it's really something, but to me, that's what it looks like. And we talked about it the other day, is the vast majority of coaching is really sold on the initial cathartic moment. And so it's sold on the idea that somebody can really has some magical ability to pull a cathartic moment out of a person. And so there's specific techniques, languaging, and just behavioral techniques to get a person to look and to see something that they're not used to seeing. And you know this as well as I do, right? And so, when the market is selling that way, it makes me feel like it's not the market I want to be in necessarily. And so what's the better solution? Okay, well, just give away the cathartic moment, but it's the deliberate practice, the pursuit of mastery, the rigorous approach to moving it. Are you familiar with the four stage, what is it? Psychocybernetics. So unconscious incompetence through unconscious competence.
No, I'm not familiar.
Okay. So I'm sure you've heard of, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
Right?
that I'm very familiar with.
That would be unconscious incompetence, right?
Gotcha.
It's a thing that bites you in the ass and you don't know why, kind of deal, right? And so the way the four stages works is you go from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence, which means you realize that you don't know that. So now you know what you don't know. And so then you develop it into the third stage is conscious competence, right? Which means you can do it, you can execute on it knowingly. And then where you want to pursue in the idea of mastery is unconscious competence.
Right.
And so you get it to the point where it just happens as a matter of fact, right? And so that's that evolution. And that's in Psychocybernetics. It's an old book, classic, oftentimes referred to, totally worth the time. What I've kind of my take on something similar to that, in learning, learning is all about patterns, right? And so the thing is something happens, and do you recognize it as a pattern or not? And so my way of looking at this is, well, what is the pattern of patterns? Look at it as at a meta level, right? And so the first time something happens and you go, holy shit, what was that, right? And then there's a second time that something like that happens. And so now it's either coincidence or it's a pattern, but we don't know yet.
Right.
And then there's a third time. And my point is now you're at a decision point. And so the decision point is are you just going to call it a pattern, right? And so it's remain foolish or become wise.
This is something I talk about with my families all the time.
Yeah.
Now this has become patternized.
Just
Yeah.
encode that damn thing into the OS and figure out a way to deal with it, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's the way this goes, right? So here's we'll use this as a way to I'll segue through it. This is sort of a non. I mean, I printed out a session worksheet and stuff that I normally do stuff because I wasn't sure what we were all talk about, so we're just ad hoc doing this kind of thing, right?
Right.
So yeah, just pull the reset on the conversation here and pretend like we're just starting. You're a smart and capable guy. I'm helping you with your business.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a bunch of stuff going on in your business. You'll always have a lot more data to work with than I do. I'm working with a very limited amount of data. And so I can't properly evaluate what's going on in your business. You have to tell me. So tell me what your biggest problem or challenge is in your business that you've been pursuing now for a while, or let's clarify what that is. And so you don't have to go real deep into it, but just give me a general sense of what that is.
It's I guess sticking to and building the what's going to create consistent revenue for me, because I have so many ideas. I want to follow them all and create this great big ecosystem where I'm doing the one-on-one coaching that I'm doing right now. That's the higher price point, and also building this community website on Community that has a 3-tier membership structure. And that way I can serve a whole lot more people in a couple of different ways. And then having all of the admin stuff that's really hard for me to sort it out, so that that I'm not screwing up and losing people.
Cool. So let's just stick with that. Now, you just answered it like 3 to 5 times. And you answered it at different levels. You got consistent revenue, and then you got like a three-tiered community thing over here, right? That's more of a tactical thing as compared to that. And so, what is it really like? What you gotta dial that thing into a clearly articulated, doable thing that we know when you cross that milestone, we can put a check mark in the box, right? Because if we don't have that clarity, no amount of work ever necessarily gets you there. If you don't know where you're going, you're guaranteed to get somewhere else, right?
Right.
If you don't have a plan for yourself, other people do, right? So easy to say and hard to do, but you gotta dial in on that thing. It's got to be a doable thing.
Then I really need to continue to do what I'm already doing and I know works, which is the one-on-one coaching. But I've got to land more clients and take them through the process. And I would say that I probably still have some broken pieces on my onboarding process and getting the payments. All that stuff needs to be sussed out. I have built the family table method, my proprietary offering and signature offering, plus a couple of freebies that go with it. And then now I just need to market it.
Yeah, we're back into the tactical stuff, and intellectual property is great.
Then I'm missing.
Well, I'm sticking to the consistent revenue thing.
Yeah,
because that's the high level, and the rest of
right.
what you said is important, but it's down in the minutia.
Okay.
Right? And so let me ask you, how many months at what per month revenue would give you I feel like I'm consistent? Say 3 months at 10 grand, 6 months at a minimum of whatever. Like, what are the numbers that would make you feel like it's time to have a nice dinner with the wife and say that you've reached a level of doing your business that is clearly not currently the case? That is where you want to really be to have sufficiency on a regular basis, and it's not necessarily the great big I'm making millions thing, right?
Yeah.
See how I'm calibrating it? I'm getting it so that we can get it into, say, if we really stick to it, we're going to be there in 6 months to 18 months or something ish, right? What's really doable?
What's really doable would be if I was able to pull in like $3,000 every month, I think would be the place where I would feel like, all right, this is consistent enough and I'm covering what I need to cover to continue moving on. But I think I would be able to do better than that. I may already be doing better than that. So if I'm selling the packages at $5K a pop, then I would say something like, what if I was selling one a month?
One a month, so 5K a month.
Do $5K a month. That would still be a real improvement. I mean, I've had a month where I've made 20K, like everybody re-upped at the same time, but that's not good.
Yeah, that's flash in the pan, right?
Right.
So 5K a month for 4 months straight.
Yeah.
Would that make you feel like you've
and I guess that's repeatable. Yeah. That I could do it again.
that would be the signal telling you that you're doing it, and that you're doing something that you're not doing now.
Right. Because it would mean that I've still got more clients coming in seeking to keep this thing going. And then maybe I could then spread out into, all right, well, now how do I get my first 25 families into the paid subscription and community and get us consistently meeting,
right?
So that has value.
Yeah,
I have 5 people that are signed up. They're all alumni families. that are just interested in helping to give me some feedback. So I can't really ask them to like go through the whole process, but I can lean on them to be people who speak to the new families that sign up, like come and be a guest speaker, stuff like that.
Yeah. So $5K a month for 5 months, 6 months straight. I mean, we're making the decision now, and it will clearly be true or not true in the subsequent months, up to the point where it's true for 5 months straight, and you'll feel like something has occurred, that the business is doing something right that it's not currently doing right.
Yeah, and that I'm polishing myself up. I had 6 people come as referrals over the past 2.5 months, and I haven't made a single sale because I realized I was actually doing a little work with Claude today. I was like, "What am I doing here? That's not working." And and what it is that I have not told them while I'm connecting with them in a call like this what the price point is. I've been sending it in a document that's cold in black and white.
Right.
I'm not leveraging my bedside manner and what the rapport we just built, because they're all excited.
Well, that's where we're going here.
Yeah.
So this is where we introduce the double bind here to get you uncomfortable, right? And I'm a coach speaking to a coach, so you know how this goes.
Yeah.
So we preface this with the fact that you're a capable and intelligent, motivated person. We have figured out what the goal is, and we even know that you have a track history of having gotten in and around that goal, right? And it's not anything that it's going to be a thing that would be a hell yes to get to, but it would make you feel different than where you're currently at, and clearly you would have the realization that something's gotten dialed in that hasn't been before. But at the same time, you've told me all the solutions to doing that. And so the question is if I regard you as a intelligent and capable person, and you know that that's the goal, and you haven't achieved the goal, then that must not be the goal. There must be an underlying behavioral aspect to it. And I think you even started to uncover it, right? Like, I'm not willing to ask for the sale, or I got some weird idea about something. Huh?
Yeah. I am willing to do it, and I have done it with the lower price point. So there must be a fear that was driving, and I wasn't even aware of it. It's like hanging out in shadow, and was just like, yeah, just send them the document. Yeah.
Right. So now this is where this is cool, right? Because if we identify that and say, for right now, let's not deal with the universe and everything in your, in all corners of your psyche. Let's look at that one thing as a fairly significant inhibitor of your business and say, I am going to, if we're choosing, we're moving that from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence. And we are going to commit to that being the thread that is going to move us to unconscious competence by way of having a rigorous approach, which is the conscious competence side of it. We go, every time it comes for me to do that, the sticky note is on the inside of my forehead that says, X price point is not too much to ask, right?
Right.
By all accounts, when I take my personal history and feed it to Claude, given the diverse amount of shit that I did in the past, it's saying nobody can compete with you in your coaching area, and what you're coaching in is a $50,000 package, and I'm like, wow, okay, and I mean, the last coaching package that I sold was $15K, so and the thing is I come from construction, and the freaking numbers are ridiculous, right? It's like, okay, you just throw around hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like the last 3 job site walkthroughs I went through, and it was different price points, but like the conversation for one of the renovations, they're like, we think it's going to be about $120,000. And I'm looking at the scope of work. I'm saying, and I told them, I understand the scope of work. I see what you're doing, and I, you're smart. You've done this before. You can look at that, but I got to tell you, with the tariffs, with doing online research, which is horribly outdated and whatnot. Realistically, to have that scope of work done here, you're really going to need more than double that money, and have them like take that home and go, shit, we don't have enough money. You're right. And so that makes high ticket coaching seem really trivial by comparison, right? And that's not even a big budget, right? The project that I'm on right now, it's like $400K ish, right? Just to do a reno. So I'm in the same boat that you are, and it's just a matter of it's not I don't think it's a matter of the actual dollar amount. I think it's a matter of delivery and confidence and engagement. To just say, this is the going rate for this, and I'm not even charging you what could be charged for you, honestly, right? Or if we really are a good match for working together, and we agree that that's the case, and that price just doesn't work, there are things we can figure out.
Right.
Because I really like working with clients I really like working with, and that makes life wonderful. And so to have an arbitrary number say that that's not something we can do seems like a little bit of a failure point of business strategy. So we come up with something. We come up with a payment plan. We come up with here's a good business concept for you. Give me your list of negotiables.
In terms of like what I haven't thought about.
That's right. And so upsell, downsell, cross sell, no sell. So the no sell, this is the idea. So you sell coaching, as I understand it, and a package is $5K. Yes? No? Okay, great. Do you have payment plans on that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What are the other ancillary things you need in your business for repeat and referral business, i.e. testimonials, i.e. exclusive interviews, recorded hot seat sessions? What are those worth to you, and can you make those negotiables on the price and make them part of the initial agreement?
Right.
As an example, right?
Yeah.
And so this is what makes you an astute salesperson, is to go in knowing every different variance that you can put on the circumstance so that you can maximize when it's a good fit to capture the yes, right? To convert to working together, because if it's a good fit, you want to do everything in your power to work together. And also, why does everybody have to be able to afford $5K? Why can't one person pay $10K and one person pay $3K?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where I'm like wondering. I have a tendency to want to give away the farm, and I'm trying to avoid doing that.
You and me both, bro.
Yeah.
But I think this is the skill. Right. Is understanding nuance, and it's not about being a slippery, like a greasy salesperson.
Right.
It's about having the right prioritization. So the bottom line is, and that's where, when I really connected this together, it really made sense for me, is in a construction project, Like if we were having a conversation right now and you want to remodel your kitchen, I haven't been to your house. I don't know how much is in your house. I have a rough idea of what caliber kitchen you can get for 20K and for 100K, right?
Right.
And you say, we have 37 to spend, and here's the scope of work, and here's a couple pictures. Like I can say, well, here's how as a general contractor, I don't upsell or downsell the budget. I creatively help the client get to the budget. So how critical is that number? Because if it's super critical, because that's all you have to spend, then we're going to estimate for 10, 20% less than that, maybe even more, right? But within those numbers, I can say, yeah, the red knob Viking stove, that's out. That ain't going to work, right? And all of these types of things. So the same thing should go for any sales type of situation. And that's where you get it when you realize to not coach by the hour at a rate. Coach great clients that are coachable, that you can move the dial on. So look for that when you're selling them and say, look, I feel like you're in a situation that I can really help. And so I think it'd be great to work together, but we have to figure out how we can make that possible. And so, you just keep lobbing the ball on that side of the court and you say, well, how much hand holding do you need in order to get to where you think you need to go? And we could even give you a little bit more. And then you can offer you can offer how much interaction you can give for that need in order to optimize for the success of the client. This is a J. Abraham thing we're getting into, is the strategy of preeminence, right? But
Let me ask you
the simple fact is like maybe they can only afford 3 of the 5 grand, and so you don't do the same amount of sessions you normally would do. Maybe you do some of them just by phone, and maybe that's what works out better for them anyway.
Okay, right on. Yeah. I'm just answering them with yes and constantly whenever they want to kind of shift it, and maybe that actually leads us back to the full price eventually, or maybe it does end up being where it needs to be, and I can still grab maybe some other
today at 4 p.m. in 10 minutes.
Oh shit. Forgot about that. I got another appointment. Just this is great. This is great. This is getting in. Sorry, I got interrupted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we went into the weeds on particular techniques, right? But nonetheless, this is the way.
This is already really helpful. I needed to think that through.
It's a creative way to get around the core issue of having that monolithic yes or no attitude with a scare tactic associated with it, which is, I can't ask him for that much money or something like that. It always ends up being something fairly irrational. So you go, that can't be it. That doesn't make any sense. No, that's the point. It's in there and the freaking wires are crossed and it doesn't make sense. And if you expose that thing, you realize you're a knucklehead and you don't have to think that way anymore, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way those things go. You got to get going, so we have to wrap up. Do you want to be a member in the membership? You were talking about getting into the elite thing.
I want to do that so that we can just go and remove all the rest of the barriers and fucking build this thing.
Cool.
I want to, I've been looking for someone like you to partner with, where we're working through this stuff, and I'm finally at a place where I'm like, I'm not going to advance unless I really dive in and really invest in me.
Cool.
So I'm ready to do that.
Cool. And it sounds actually like it's not even so much about AI. It's even just business strategy and good, a next level coaching enterprise kind of thing that you're dealing with, right?
And how do we incorporate AI so that I can continue to grow and evolve? Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at the membership levels page, like if you're on the website and you look at that, anyway, the point is Elite 100, capitals all one thing, ELITE 100. That's a discount code. And so it goes from $2.99 a month down to $1.99 a month for the first year.
Okay.
If I have all of the things properly hooked together, you'll go through a Stripe portal and enter that discount code, and you'll be signed up.
Could you give the discount code to me one more time? I'll just apply it now.
ELITE, Elite 100. And it's all capitals, no spaces, and it's the number 100, right?
Oh, it's all capital. ELITE.
100.
Got it.
And so you got to tell me if it works. I just clicked
Error.
the Stripe out of what do you call it? Out of test mode. So
I got an error.
okay, we'll work it out. You got to get to your next appointment.
Elite 100, no spaces, or was there a hyphen?
No spaces.
Yeah, got an error.
I'll figure it out. Stripe is probably not completely doing what it needs.
No. I did it again and it worked. The code has been applied to your order, $1.99 a month. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
We're there.
All right.
Then I will hope this is the right one. Don't remember.
And I like you have not had my Stripe account going for a while. Like I've logged in, I pulled all the stuff out of it for year-end bookkeeping, but I haven't had any purchases on it. So it says it's all hooked up and working and operating in the site. We will see.
Okay. See if it goes through. Confirmation. Should be something coming to you soon.
Look at that. A subscription has shown up. That means I should be able to look at my Stripe account. And I'll have to do that in a minute. I got my new phone here I got to do all the passcodes and stuff like that. But it showed up as a subscription in the subscriptions. So as far as I know, I'm willing to bet that is in there. Awesome, man.
All right.
Thank you very much. And congratulations on being my first premium person. You get the exclusive rights to say, I was there when it first started.
That's right.
Is it worth it? I bought it with nothing on there, but did you see my video on the homepage?
Yeah. The video, the AI video, the one that you sent. Yeah. It's really sophisticated, man. That's great. I was watching it just before we got on. So yeah, it's awesome. And that's the avatar that I'd be talking to at 2 a.m, right?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm like trying to imagine me having something like that. And can I get away with that doing what I do? Because it would feel oddly different What if
Well,
my
first-
AI guy
first-
talks better than I do?
I mean, first it ends up. First, you got to be comfortable with it because you have to sell it, right?
Right.
But then the thing is to understand that when the person's interacting with it, they're interacting with all of your training material.
Right. Right.
You know, so this is crazy. You know, and if you
An absolute game changer because I've been working in places where I was under such incredible stress because I was answering the phone at all hours of the night.
the way this is working now, where this technology is really doing well, is in remote education in multiple locations. So you can get professors can scale in different schools, like in third world countries. Healthcare. So the top doctors can have these things where basically people can be asking them, and that's real time. But then once they get all of their methodology programmed into it, you disconnect from real time as an option, and it's just running off of your material. It's the AI that's basically got a rag stack of all your proprietary understanding, and it peels out of that and talks in your voice. It's I wanted to get the website to you. Go to liveavatar.com and just talk to some of the avatars they have there, because
Sweet.
you can like you could just turn it on and just talk to it. You know, like there's a guy there and you say, make it a business coach, right? Chat now with that person, and you look at it, you're like, wow, real-time interaction. And so that's what's cool about this is you program it up to be you, and people what they're actually finding is they're not uncomfortable. They're actually willing to be more honest because it's a machine rather than it's a person there. And so they're actually willing to disclose more, which is crazy.
Yeah.
This is weird stuff, and it's super cool.
It is. All right. I got to run, and we'll get back in contact soon, eh?
Yeah, we'll just be chatting back and forth. We'll figure out when we got to talk again next.
Okay. Sounds good.
Have a great day, week. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bud. You too.
Take care.